Okay, guys, I wanted to hang on one second. Let me just get this live. All right, guys. So I wanted to get back, and obviously, I've spent a little bit of time like going through Invincible, talking about the series, and like I've spent a lot of time talking about, Mark and Debbie, and not a lot of time. Like I touched on Cecil a little bit, but honestly, he's one of the most significant characters on the show, and he might be the only one that actually cares about the most significant character, right? He might be the only one who actually puts humanity first, right? And this is going to be very important. Now, I know for a lot of you guys, you look at Mark and you're like, this is the hero. And I would right off the bat challenge that because I don't see anything heroic about him. I would argue that he's the protagonist, right? He's definitely the protagonist of the show. That doesn't necessarily mean he's the hero. And in fact, I put that on Stedman because no matter who does what, he's gonna be there, right? He's always gonna be there. He never puts himself above the situation, right? So this is the director of, this global defense agency. He is this like master military strategist. He's the brains that puts all these characters together. He's the one who manages all the relationship. So he has a relationship with Rex, and he has a relationship with Eve, and all the Omni-Man. He had a relationship with Omni-Man. So he's at the core of this in so many ways. And, so the thing about Stedman is that, he's the guy who most of the time has to make the most difficult decisions, right? That's left up to him. He doesn't get the luxury of putting himself first, ever. And if Stedman ever did that, it would be catastrophic. For all of us, it would purely be a catastrophic situation, okay? And this is something I'm only bringing up because I know, like, you guys talk about Mark, you talk about, like, how he's this great hero. And I'm not saying even Mark's a bad person, but you ain't a hero, right? And I'm gonna break down to you why. Like, I'm trying to just get to my notes because, again, I just work off of notes, man. I'm never ranting. This is always me actually thinking about the series, okay? And here's the things that stand out to Stedman. He has deep love, but not for individual humans, right? He doesn't care about any single human more than he cares about humanity. That's nobody, right? So that puts him at odds with this Grayson family. Like a lot of times you can tell a lot about people by who you get pissed off and who pisses you off, right? Like that emotion. So his relationship with Mark or the Graysons in general is mad precarious all the time. And it's not Stedman's fault, right? Stedman is the only one who cares about you and me and this planet. That's it, right? So in Invincible, like you'll notice with this, is that he deals, first of all, you're dealing with a lot. You're dealing with the most powerful humans on the planet. And here's some things that we show about him. This is the core. This is a guy who's a remnant of our Cold War intelligence. And that was a period that defined America, like how we thought, how we moved. Military strategist at the highest level, right? CIA handler. This is a post 9/11 security architect. This is a man who believes that from his standpoint, morality is a luxury. And that's why he feels so real. That's why he feels so much realer than the other characters on the show, because he actually makes decisions that make sense to all the rest of us. They're not singular family decisions. So this is why he goes about it the way that he does, right? This is the very stern, right? Like kind of, no holds barred type of guy in what he's doing. And humanity comes first. There's no one else on the show in which you would say humanity comes first no matter what. Okay? That's certainly not Mark. It's certainly not Mark. For whatever you want to say about Mark, him being your hero is totally fine, but don't tell me that he puts humanity first. If the question for Mark was you could either save Eve or you could save Earth. We already know what he's going to do, right? We already know what he's going to do. This was the question that Neo had to face with Trinity, right? You knew in order for the process for you to save everybody, everybody's life, she has to die. And that's it. That's the question. You can judge it how you want, and you can pick who you want. If you want the guy who's going to pick his girlfriend over saving all the rest of us, that can be your hero all day. I'll never challenge you on that. I'm going to go with the guy who's going to put all of us first. And from that standpoint, like, am I willing to die to have the rest of my family live? No, I'm just kidding. I absolutely would. So I understand that sacrifice. And this is a sacrifice that we typically see a lot of actual heroes, right? Like, do you remember Captain America's story, right? Where he literally sacrifices his life that he could have had with this woman to save all the rest of us, right? Left this beautiful, gorgeous woman who was all military, exactly the kind of woman. She had it for him too. And he walked away from all that in order to save our lives, right? Mark would not do that. Okay, we don't have to pretend. We don't have to talk ourselves into it. That's not who Mark's game is. So Mark has already shown how he feels about Earth, right? Yeah, he fights for Earth, but he fights for Earth because his people are there, right? His family's there. His friends are there. If his fans or family aren't there, I don't know that Mark makes any sacrifices for the greater us, which includes me and you, just for your count. Now, Cecil, because he puts Earth first, like, and this is where it gets really clever on the writing. Like, Mark's a fugazi hero, but he's a nice person, right? We think his morality is better. He thinks with his heart. He cares. He cries. So we elevate him as to like a real hero. Whereas, Cecil, everything is ass backwards with this dude. Humanity survives first. That's the most important thing. But ethics now become secondary. And that's why we don't see him as a hero, because we can't see him as a good person. Because this guy will lie to anyone. He will manipulate. He will blackmail, imprison. He will weaponize villains. He will experiment on dangerous people. He will betray his own allies. He will monitor superheroes that are working with him. And he will work with murderers, right? Everything he's willing to do, if it even increases our survival chances by 1%. So he makes some very, very pragmatic, decisions about how the Earth runs. And this is what he's tasked to do. So we don't want someone who cares about going home and having lunch with their wife more than security. And I get it. A well-adjusted person should be able to do those things. But we're not really asking you to be a well-adjusted person. We're not. Like, this is a person who stands up. He doesn't have powers. He doesn't have a cosmic bloodline. He doesn't have a suit. He comes in with just intelligence, ruthless pragmatism, and this, like, really, really elite level of, just like intuition, I guess that you would break it, or insight. And he works the political narratives against who he needs. So he understands that in his eyes, these superpower beings are massively unstable. And to his credit, it seems like he is spot on. Even the good ones, especially the good ones, are the most unstable of these people because they get caught up in their emotions. And those emotions can always have them make decisions that aren't the best decisions. So Cecil is himself a guy who, like, he came to terms with his sacrifices. He made his sacrifices. He's one of us. He gave up emotionally on that part of his life a long time ago. He gave it up so that he could properly do this job. So this is the whole thing. He ages, he scars, he's weak. Like, and that's the thing. Even when Mark pushes up on him, and again, all you do is threaten violence. Like, he's like, I'm not backing down. And the thing about it is, like, why he ends up in it with Debbie is because, look, Debbie, I understand you're being a mother, and I can respect you being a mother. But goddamn, you're willing to let all the rest of us die because of the decisions that you're willing to make. So he's willing to do anything. He'll cross anybody for that advantage for us. And I can't say I don't want him to do it. I want him to do it for our protection. He also has, I think, a level of kind of psychopath, right? In your ability to compartmentalize, right? You can go from identifying a person and, mourning their death or something like that, and then taking their body and weaponizing the corpse, right? You can do all that stuff. You can go to the funeral and then go back home and continue the mission all in one day. So he's like a level emotional control that is just kind of unheard of, right? Like I think even for Amanda Waller, he's kind of out there. So and this is the thing. He does not enjoy the cruelty. He doesn't enjoy any of this. In fact, I think some of it eats him up. But he does what has to be done, right? So this is where the fans really can kind of get into him. Like we should be monitoring these supes who have all this power, right? We should have prepared kill switches, right? Like those type of things. What is freedom worth, in this existence? How much do we weigh out freedom versus extinction, which is kind of the event that he faces. So like I wanted to look at this guy from that standpoint. And again, he's very, very Bruce. And he's got, obviously the big connections. He's got an intimate relationship with Omni-Man, who he wasn't too far off of. He knew that this guy was kind of wrong, right? He knew. And what Cecil does is he represents like this human fear of the guy. How do we maneuver with the gods around him? You try to control them, you bargain with them, you study them, you try to weaponize them, you figure out what their weaknesses are. So in that regard, he operates like Amanda Waller. He operates like Nick Fury. This is kind of Odysseus, mythically. This is kind of Odysseus navigating this world of these great creatures that are all around you. And the ultimate tragedy is that his genuine love, like he sacrificed so much, he didn't get any joy out of this. Everything has turned into just paranoia. It's controlling, it's manipulation. So he can't just be like, I love the earth and I always want to do good things here. So it's kind of a different thing. So this contrasts him with the main characters. So when I talk Mark, I talk Debbie. Obviously these characters are heavily rooted in I love you and the people that they love and their family. And Cecil, and so that puts him at odds because sometimes saving your family isn't the smartest thing for saving the entire planet. And that's what our goals are. So knowing his methods, like this guy's scarred, he's been beaten, he's been down, and just insanely gets back up. What's up there, grand guy? Just insanely gets back up, like, and uses every single tool. Imagine you're controlling Omni-Man. For what it was worth, you did have some control. For what it's worth, you have some control over Mark, right? And that's really the thing. Now, what gets terrifying with Cecil is how far would he go? Well, all the way, right? Here's the thing, dude. Here's the thing. If you don't like the image, then don't fucking look at it, right? Like, it's an infograph. And if you think I'm gonna sit up here and draw this bullshit out, what really? That's what you brought to this, man. Like I'm being really honest with you, man. Like I'm being 100% honest with you, man. Like, did you think someone was gonna draw this infograph out, right? Or you thought that as I was doing my research that I was gonna put something like this together, man? Like, be gone. Like, as all I can say is be gone. Again, you choose to do what you do on your own content and channel. But for you to come on here, man, you could just straight up just bounce. Like, I'm not, like, whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's very clear statistics of the conversation I had building this, so everything lines up. So I'd like you to tell me what you're seeing is info slop, or AI slop. It's clear, it's legible, it's lined out, it makes sense. So holler, like you have something to say. So I'm just saying, speak on it right now. Like I'm accomplishing something so we can sit down here and talk about these characters. And that's what I'm doing, in depth with lots of detailed information. Okay, whether you want to be a part of it, that's a choice that you got to make for yourself, right? That's really something you got to do for yourself, right? Anyway, back to what I'm saying here. Like, so this character is defined by his actual sacrifices, right? Like his actual real sacrifices. He gives up friendship. He gives up trust. He gives up his health. He has scars on his body, right? This is where he is. So like when we compare him to Mark's world, like Mark, you just don't add up. Not as being a hero, probably as being a really nice guy, right? Like that's the whole thing. Maybe you're a really nice guy, but you're definitely not a hero, right? So Cecil gives up all this stuff. And here's the thing. Nobody thanks him for him at all. Like the stress this guy has to be carrying in his body, no one is even giving him comfort. Like there's no threat. Cecil is the guy who believes like humanity is already in World War III. So he's always operating from the standpoint. And that's where I kind of look at him and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of Bruce. Bruce Wayne in that regard, that it's just kind of like, okay, it's a heavy load. Somebody has to do this lifting. Yes, I have contingency plans against you. Like, that's 100% the truth. Yes, I 100% have a contingency plan to kill you. Everybody over here, because you're the threat, right? You're also a threat. This is why he's so tragic, because he does everything he does to protect mankind, right? Truthfully, any of us can be sacrificed to him, right? But at the same time, how do we appreciate his willingness to protect the greater plan? So this is what he is. Heroes a lot of times say that they want to save the world. He actually puts it in action. He actually goes about doing the things to actually keep the Earth's surface, right? 24/7. This is a job, like he said, like it's been like 20-something years since this planet had been Viltrumite free, and that lasted for all of a couple of weeks. So he carries all this weight. Now, psychologically, I've made a lot of references to him and Batman character, which I think is 100% valid. Like, he operates the same way. I don't know if he's the same level of intelligence that Batman is, but like psychologically, how they're rooted, they operate from that same framework, man. These guys are willing to go after it, like, whatever it is, whatever's going on, he's going to make that pragmatic decision. Just like Batman was able to, handle he kept files on the Justice League, right? He kept complete files on the Justice League so that he could be ready in case you got, possessed or compromised or someone entered your, whatever it was, he had a plan for you. And that's kind of what we need, even though people don't like it. Now, Bruce, I think, operates more of like a guilt, like an overwhelming sense of, I have to do this, right? Whereas Cecil is more responsibility. I think he operates from a cleaner place emotionally, where he's more like distinction. I'm making this decision consciously. And Bruce is more obviously trauma driven. So that kind of affects him. He's going on his mission because of like this family trauma and all this stuff, survivor's guilt. Where Cecil is more like this wartime administrator, right? This like clearly intelligence, operative that just rose to the top. So Batman still kind of believes in symbolism, and he wants Gotham to rise and heal and aspire, become better. Cecil operates more like he doesn't work in optimism. He doesn't believe that things are going to get better. He believes in mitigation of damage. He believes in being prepared for something you can't prepare for. And he believes in strategic survival. So that means that he's willing to operate on different levels. So is this kind of, this is kind of like an older, more cynical Bruce if he was running the government. If that's what it wasn't his personal issues. It was him running the government. So that's kind of what it is. Batman kind of operates outside the system, where Cecil is the system. Like, functionally, he is the system. So this is kind of what we get out of this character. And like, overall, I still see him as the one like stable force, right? And that this is where his distinctions with the family goes. When we talk about the Graysons, like, this is still a family dynamic story, right? It is. Mark's story, like, you save Earth just because we're here on Earth too. Your story is still about a teenage boy who's dealing with his mom and his dad's past and like his future. Like, your dad want you to join the business, right? Like, that's what I remember. Oh, I don't want your life, right? That whole scenario. So it just plays out on a cosmic level, but this is still very much just a family dynamic story, right? This isn't that different from Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. Like, we've seen this. And I think some writers will use like an individual family to carry the emotions of the series, which is what they're doing here. I feel like it's a detriment because we lose sight of how big the story actually is. And I think that's the greater angle for me. That's just how I look at it. But if we're looking at, the Graysons and Cecil, the great divide is family logic is you protect family, loved ones, you protect morality, you have loyalty to blood, you have emotional truth, you deal with immediate suffering, right? This is where you're at. You're healing immediate suffering. Whereas Cecil has to protect society. Strategic morality when it's convenient, loyalty to the structure, institutional necessity, and long-term survival. So they're operating in different stories, right? It's like either watching the story of Luke Skywalker or watching the story of the Sith history. They're in the same world, but they're operating on completely different motivations, right? So this is kind of how the story breaks down. Cecil kind of represents this forgotten majority. really, especially in this story. Like, we see probably thousands of normal people get killed. Cecil's the only one who actually is like, I'm thinking about them. I am reacting to him. Mark gets to have this like moral attitude that he gets to carry that's kind of this false hero, but this is where like the real hero gets down. Mark worries about like, well, what's Eve gonna do while I'm gone? Where Cecil has to think about who's gonna rebuild Chicago, who's gonna prevent us from going extinct, how does the planet get damaged, how do we handle the next invasion, where are the next unstoppable metahumans at, who protects billions of ordinary people. So what he's looking at is different, and it puts him naturally at odds with the Graysons, who through their lens are correct to think about family first. So this is why he feels to me like the adult in the room, because they're all reactionary based on their feelings. And this guy's actually using his noodle and logic, and this becomes the most interesting part. It's tragic part, but I do see what it is. And like I said, I see Mark as a really nice person who loves his family, is loyal to his friends. I don't necessarily see you as a hero, especially seeing when you went out and started taking money to do hero services. So this is kind of where I put the heart of the series in. It's Cecil and his, commitment to civic duty and caring about humanity, whereas Mark's not going to make that cut for me. So I just want to break this dude down just to give him his own like separate, time to kind of have a good conversation about him. But I'll be back to kind of break down some of the other characters. I think I'm going to do Rex Explode next, man. Rex is one of my favorite characters. But hit me up, let me know what characters you're into, and we'll do some nice topics.